Hi, I'm Carrie Preston, and you're listening to In Her Words.
Everyone has a story. Welcome to In Her Words, a podcast from women in entertainment where female creatives and allies share their stories in their own words.
This is a dedicated space centered on how to harness creativity for inspiring and impactful projects in the ever-changing landscape of entertainment.
I'm Renee Rossi.
I'm Gretchen McCourt.
And this is In Her Words.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to In Her Words. We are speaking with Emmy winner Carrie Preston today. She has brought Elsbeth Tascioni to life with The Good Wife, The Good Fight, and now in 2 seasons of her own show, Elsbeth. We love this smart, quirky woman, and it was wonderful to meet Carrie and hear her journey to this beloved character. We hope you enjoy. Okay, your hair looks fabulous.
Oh, thank you. I just had it done. So
We're talking about that because I'm getting it done this afternoon.
We're all talking about our grays, our roots, our cuts.
Yeah, just red.
Everything.
Come in, I'm like going to the salon.
Carrie, we are so excited that you could be with us today. We're huge fans. And I told my parents that you were going to be on today, and they're dying. They're like, we love Elsbeth so much.
Parents love Elsbeth. Oh, I will say that. Parents love them.
It's the show is I mean, it's so much fun. She's such a fun character. So we're really excited that you took the time today and could talk to us. So thank you.
Well, thanks for having me.
We'd love to start before Elsbeth and just kind of really hear your story and your path and how you got in front of the camera and, just kind of where you decided that you wanted to be an actor.
And we'll also hit on behind the camera too.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Thank you for wanting to talk about that part too.
Yeah.
So I grew up in Macon, Georgia. My mom is a visual artist and also did expressive art, which is very similar to art therapy. So she was a very, supportive person in my life for my creative journey. And my dad was a geotechnical engineer. So I had the right brain and the left brain, working right on tandem, which came in handy for me, growing up. My brother is also a professional actor. And so he started doing plays when I was a kid. And he's a couple years older. And so I started watching him and I was like, oh, I want to do what he's doing. I want to be like John. And so, at, I don't know, age 9 or so, auditioning for the community theater. And then I was, a lifer, I got sucked into it. And, by the time I was 12, I was starting my own theater company with all the kids in the neighborhood, and charging 25 cents or 10 cents or whatever for everybody to come and watch these skits and stuff. So I was really into it, started the drama club when I was in high school, that kind of thing. But I didn't really know, growing up in Macon, Georgia, how to become a professional actor. But I remember I was doing a play at the community theater and the director at the time, who was still a dear friend, Jim Crisp, he said to me, Carrie, I see that you're eager and curious and you want to know how to make yourself better. I can help you as much as I can, but I'm going to encourage you to try to go to an acting school. And so I ended up doing that, but it was a little circuitous route, but I went to college in College of Charleston for a couple of years. And from there, then I jumped to this wonderful conservatory at the University of Evansville. They have in Southern Indiana, they have this wonderful theater program there and a professor there who really took my work to the next level. And then he's the one who encouraged me to audition for Juilliard and then went to Juilliard from there. So I was one of those people that just loved studying. I loved being in school. I loved that womb of creativity that you get when you're in acting school. And so I went there and then launched my career in New York from Juilliard and made my Broadway debut doing Shakespeare. And it was a production of The Tempest with Patrick Stewart playing Prospero. I was playing Miranda. George C. Wolfe directed it. It was his first Shakespeare. that he had ever directed. And it was just this incredible, moment in my life and in my career to be able to do that with those people at that level. But I had been training for it, even though I was still young. I had been training for it. I'm doing Shakespeare every summer, and so to launch my career that way was pretty spectacular. And from there, I was able to start getting those auditions for film and TV. And it took a lot of going in there and auditioning and trying to prove that I wasn't just a theater actor. And my first big break was my best friend's wedding with Julia Roberts. So that was
such a fun character too.
Yeah, that was the launch of my film and TV career, and it just went from there. And I've been extremely blessed, and I've had an incredibly versatile and interesting career so far. And but right now I've got my dream job.
What was it like? It's like to go from The Good Wife to The Good Fight to having your own series. It's like not a lot of actors can say that.
No, I know. It's not lost on me. Yeah, it's not lost on me. The wonder and the gratitude that I feel is boundless, and I experience it every day. I still show up on set and I see Elsbeth, written, or I see a poster, or I see the back of the, director's chair and it says Elsbeth, and I just squeal inside. I still can't believe that there's a show that is called Elsbeth, and this is this character that, I started playing 15 years ago. I never dreamt that we would get there, because lots of people say things, and then it's one thing to hear, oh, we want to do a spinoff with your character. And then another thing for someone to write that, someone to say yes to it, someone to put the money behind it, for audiences to come on board, for journalists like yourself to support it. I mean, all that stuff is miraculous, the fact that we have landed here with this. And so, playing her from the beginning, I knew it was a special character, and I did my best to rise to the brilliant writing that was given to me. And then somewhere along the way, when we were doing Good Wife, people started saying, hey, why don't you do a spinoff centered around Elsbeth? And Robert and Michelle King would say, are you interested in this? And I would say, of course I'm interested. But then, for whatever reason, it wouldn't happen. And then they did do a spinoff. It was called The Good Fight. And it had Christine Baranski and Push Jumbo and, Sarah Steele and all these other people. And I was like, okay, I guess that's going to be the spinoff. And just, went about my way and did wonderful other series and work and films and happily. And then I would come on periodically and, play the character a few other times. But every time I would play her, I would think, okay, this is the last time. This is the last time, because it would just be a guest spot. And then in 2020, Robert and Michelle King were rewatching episodes of Columbo. And that's when they thought, maybe we should take the character of Elsbeth out of the legal world and put her into the world of the police. And so they started messing around with this idea at the same time that a writer at the New York Times, Elizabeth Vincentelli, wrote this article about how she was watching reruns of Columbo. And the last line of her article was, we don't need a reboot of Columbo. Just give Elsbeth Tascioni her own show. I was just sitting there going, I don't know what is happening in the zeitgeist in the universe right now, but something is happening. But then it still took another 3 years before we actually shot a pilot. But that was when it started really in earnest.
Was that with the shooting? Was it the writing, or was it the shooting because of COVID in terms of bringing it to kind of bear? Because that was the thick of it, right?
Yes, that was, it was right. We were all in lockdown. And then Robert and Michelle knew that the good fight was going to be coming to an end, and at soon after. And so they were just sort of thinking ahead because they were brilliant about what they wanted to do next. And that was how they were able to extend the world of those two shows, but make it all new and make it where you don't have to have watched either one of those shows to jump into this character in this world. And that was so very smart on their part. And then and then they passed the baton to John Tollins after the pilot, who is our showrunner. And he really has taken the show to what it is that you see now. And he really did pick up that baton, but he continued to make it fresh for himself and for me and for all of us.
How much did you get to contribute? Because Elsbeth she's so smart. She's so, she's so productive and accomplished, but yet she's so quirky and has all of these little nuances about her that people, that's what they love about the character. So how much did you get to bring into kind of building on those layers of her?
Well, I mean, it starts with the page, right? It just starts with the writing. And, way back when, 15 years ago, ironically, or maybe with great amount of prescience, Robert King said, we're thinking about this character as a female Columbo. This was 15 years ago.
Oh my gosh, Columbo. I feel the need. I hope it's raining this weekend. I got to watch.
I know. And at the time, this was a long time ago, and I didn't really spend a lot of time watching Columbo when I was growing up. It was a little before my time. So I did, but I knew I'd seen it before, and I knew, what they were after was this, unexpected, something unorthodox, something underestimated that they wanted with this character. And so that's what I kind of walked into the first time I ever appeared on the show with that. But I was finding the character. I didn't know tonally how far I could go. I just knew, this is a person who is going to be approaching things in a way that is different. And how do I do that and make it grounded and fun and interesting for myself, but hopefully for the audience too. But really get inside the brain of the character. And on the page for that first episode that I did 15 years ago, there was the word pause. And I was like, pause. Okay, what is happening in this pause with this person? And then that was like my key into the character, really, was not what she was saying, but what she was thinking and what was going on in the synapses in her brain. And so I started playing around with that. And then as we went along, and I felt from the writers and the producers that I was allowed a little creative freedom to kind of veer off into a little bit of a different tone for that show. And then we realized that, bringing her on for that was something that they would sprinkle in throughout the show just to give it a different vibe. And they would bring Elsbeth in when no one else could do what it is that they needed to do. And it became like this little piece of magic, whenever she would come in. And then I feel like the alchemy between the writing and what I was doing really started to gel. And then after that, they started writing to what I was doing. And I started, continuing to build on what they were writing. And it just became this wonderful partnership that it is today.
And she's such she's just such a great character.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the conversation, but we have some exciting news.
This summer, June 17th, is our annual summit. It's at the Skirball Center in LA, and it's a full day of panel discussions and fireside chats with all of your favorite people from the industry.
Go to womeninentertainment.com for more information and for your tickets. Now back to the conversation.
Earlier today, Renee and I were talking about characters and great characters that are, in film and especially in long running shows. Mm-hmm. And what is the feeling for, you said this is you're working your dream job right now with Elsbeth. Is there is this is being known for a character and a character like being so iconic in a character, is that something that is, that as an actor you hope for in your career, you look for? Is it limiting? Is it, this is because she's just such a, she is an iconic character now, and people know. How does that, as an actor, how does that feel to be known like that for her?
I mean, it's such a I feel so humbled by that and flattered by that. Uh, I like I said, I trained to be a versatile player, and I don't ever like the word character actor because like we're all doing characters,
Right.
even leads are doing characters. But I prefer the term that I heard someone use once, which is illusionist. And I like that because I feel like our job as actors is to create the illusion that we are someone else, that is, a full-fleshed person that exists in the world, even though it's actually something that's written on a page that
Mm-hmm.
comes to life um, with because of the work of hundreds of people. Really, it takes like over 300 people to make an episode of Elsbeth. It's not just me alone, you know. And so I like that idea that uh, the character has become so three-dimensional that she has become, you know, something something in the zeitgeist, something bigger,
Yeah.
something that
Yeah.
people will say, oh, to other people who don't even know me or whatever, oh, you're so Elsbethan, or like, oh, that's just like you're just like Elsbeth. And that's such a compliment, and a testament to the writing and to what we've all built together, that the character resonates like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny, when I started off in my career, there was such pressure, you need to get a name, you need to get a name. They're going with a name. I would hear that all the time. I would audition for something. You did the best job, but they're going for a name, a name. And I'm like, okay, I guess I got to go get one of those names. And the irony is that the name that I got is Elsbeth Tascioni. I mean, people know my name, Carrie Preston, as an actor, but I think the general public
Yeah.
still just thinks Elsbeth Tascioni. And I'm like completely fine with that.
One of the, again, we were brainstorming some different and talking about different topics this morning. One of the things we're talking about too is just how series have changed so much in terms of, we're seeing so many like 10 episode series, and then you go to a 20. Elspeth had a first season of 10 episodes. Now you did a 20 episode season of season 2. When you're making that leap, it's like, that's a lot right now, especially because so many people are trying to almost create these 10 episode series as mini movies and, extensions and it's episodes, and how TV has changed in terms of consumption has changed so much. When you look at like The Good Wife to The Good Fight to Elsbeth, and going from 10 episodes season 1 to 20 episodes season 2, how has that journey been?
I mean, this season 2 was the most epic thing I've ever done as an actor, because of the stamina that it requires. Our show only has 3 series regulars, and so they write a lot for us. And because the show is called Elsbeth, Elsbeth is very much on pretty much every page of the episode. And the way we have to shoot it, because it's network TV, they shoot it very quickly, and one dovetails into another. The few scenes that I wasn't in, which are the very beginning when we see the murder, oftentimes I was off doing what they call a tandem unit, shooting another scene. So I never had a day off, to be honest, except on the weekends. And even then, I'm learning lines, and studying and preparing and prepping for, the week ahead. And so the stamina was challenging, but invigorating. I got a really wonderful workflow going. I have people who help me, like the ADs. They get me the schedule ahead of time, so I know how to calibrate, the learning of all of this and how I'm going to get through this day. When are we doing the big 5-page monologue where I sum up the entire crime? Sometimes, because of scheduling, they had to put that on day one
Yeah.
of the episode. So I'm doing a 5-page monologue, summing up a crime, arresting someone I had just met that day.
Right. Right.
So those kind of challenges were, wonderful but at the same time, required a lot of concentration. So that's just the logistics of it all. The creativity of it all was really incredible, to be called upon to lead a cast and make a welcoming set, which I endeavor to do every day, and also, elevate myself to this wonderful writing. It was the reason to get up. It's the reason to live.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your production company also a little bit, as kind of adding on to Renee's question from that perspective, as you're looking at, theater, live theater, that you have a history in, looking at film and looking at television. Do you look at all formats as you're deciding on, what your production company is going to take on, or what you're going to take on behind the camera? How do you look at different formats and different projects that way?
I mean, it's been an evolution, I started this production company, not that long after I'd gotten out of Juilliard, and I was out in the industry and I was working, but I had these long stretches where I wasn't. And I'm not one to sit back. I'm a creative person. I like to tell stories. I like to get in there and make a thing, and I didn't want to give my power away and ask permission to do it all the time. I wanted to just take matters into my own hands. And so did my producing partners, one of whom I went to Juilliard with, James Vasquez. And so he approached me, and this was back in 2003 or something. And he had a script and he said, I wrote this script and I want to star in it. And do you want to direct it? And I had taken a filmmaking course, behind the camera filmmaking course. I got a grant to do that. And so we just basically, it was like the Little Rascals, we like got together and, you get some lights and I'll get some, camera, we'll shoot a thing. And so we shot a movie and it ended up being a feature film. He wrote it as a feature. And we shot it, not really knowing what we were doing, but it was a great way to learn, because then when we got into editing, we learned, this is why you need these shots. This is what the line of axis is. This is how lighting should be. Oh gosh, yeah, we need to do something better about sound. Just stuff like that we wouldn't have known had we not thrown ourselves in the deep end. And then that just one led to another project with that company. And then James has a big career as a theater director, and so he started getting really busy doing plays. And then I started, doing series and stuff. And it became where we needed to do our own projects. And so I really wanted to start directing episodic TV because I was on so many things. Mm-hmm. So I started, even during True Blood, shadowing other directors. And True Blood was a little, too worried about giving me my first shot on a big show like that. But I learned a lot, shadowing, but also just watching as I was on set. And then shadowed again on The Good Wife, shadowed again on this show that I was on called Claws for TNT. And then Janine Sherman-Barrois, who was our showrunner on Claws, gave me my first shot directing episodic TV. Thank goodness, because I loved it. Oh. And it was a really, really fun discovery that I could use everything that I had been learning along the way to and bring it to that job. And I got another episode, and then I ended up directing on The Good Fight, and directed on Your Honor, which is also produced by Robert and Michelle King, and it was just a wonderful way to exercise all of my creative muscles and not just the one that you exercise when you're being an actor.
Like, how does that change your perspective as an actor? Like, has that changed your perspective in terms of understanding the direction, or you approach the part differently because you understand how, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not just acting the scene, you're actually like almost self-directing while you're in it.
Yes, it's very interesting because as a director, you have to learn everybody's language very, very quickly. And I know as an actor, obviously, how to, since I'm an actor myself, I know how to talk to other actors, but everybody has their own process. And so you do have to quickly assess, oh, this person's going to need this person's going to need that. And so that you can give it to them instinctually and with lightning speed. And that is true as well with the crew. You have to learn how, what all these other crew members want and need from you in order for everybody to do their job, to make this thing sing. And one thing that I do find though sometimes, because I as a director spend a lot of time preparing. I'm like profoundly overly prepared because I don't have as much experience. And so I really want to have a full plan walking in there. So everybody knows I got this. I know what I'm doing, but at the same time, knowing that plan will fall apart. It does inevitably because of a million different things. And I know that as an actor, right? But it is paramount, I think, that you have a very detailed plan. And I found that sometimes I have less tolerance for actors when I'm directing because I want to just go, will you just do what I've got, what I planned? Because I've thought this through, and it's so funny. I catch myself and I'm like, Carrie, you can't do that. You can't do that. And you have to collaborate with them. And it's just hilarious. I've noticed it and I'm like, wow, Carrie, you are really not giving much grace to this other actor who does what you do for a living. And I mean, nothing ever comes to a head, but I do have these little internal thoughts of like, just do what I said. I promise it's going to be good.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you miss the theater?
I do. But, I directed a play about 3 or 4 years ago, and that just like really gave me what I wanted, which is I really love the rehearsal process.
Yeah.
I love being in a rehearsal room. I love, the whole creation of a play with a team in an intimate setting without any outside, interference or observers. I love all that. And then as an actor, I found back when I was doing plays that once the audience started coming in, I didn't love it as much. And I had to like really look at that and go, wonder what that is. And if I don't love it, I really shouldn't be doing it because it is it's a grueling life, to be doing these. It's a tough schedule. It requires a lot of energy. And I thought, let me just take a break from doing that. And then I ended up, with a 20-year break here. I haven't done a play in 20 years. And that blows my mind. I mean, I haven't been on stage. Yeah. Like I said, I've done, I've directed. And then I do readings a lot. Mm-hmm. I get involved with workshops. I do that kind of thing. And again, it's because I like that development side of things and the creating of it. And I know I'll be on stage again. I'm just waiting for the right time and the right thing.
Yeah.
What would you like to see happen to and for Elsbeth coming up? What would you for her little life? What would you like to see happen for her?
Well, what's so great is that we have these brilliant writers. John Toland's our showrunner, and the writers' room are so smart, so clever, and they start dreaming up things for Elsbeth 2 months before I even show up. And so I trust them, and I trust that they're going to come up with things I would have never dreamt. And I get excited like a kid at Christmas when I get a script, or, when I sit down at the beginning of the season with John and the writers, and they tell me all these ideas that they have. And I just, I get so excited about, oh, how are we going to do the Christmas episode? And what are we going to do? Oh, we're going to go into the world of opera or whatever it is. I get excited about that. So for me to dream up things, it will never be as good as what they're going to dream up for me. I think it's probably just because I'm a theater trained actor and the words are, king and queen. And so I just continue with that and trust that they're going to give me some delicious things to play and a journey that I couldn't have even come up with on my own.
Carrie, what do you watch? In terms of, you have Elsbeth, but like, what do you watch? Do you watch like horror, romantic comedies? Like what do you love?
Yeah, I'm very versatile in my watching. I watch anything from, The Handmaid's Tale to Shrinking, and like everything in between. I love to, support anything that has a female lead. I think that's important. And I also just relate, obviously to that. And thankfully there's a lot of stuff out there that has female characters at the center. When I was coming up, it was mostly male-centric television that females were always pretty much supporting, with the exception of a few things here and there. And so I just finished watching Michelle Williams in her new series on Hulu.
Dying for Sex.
Dying for Sex.
Yep.
It was fantastic. Jenny Slate. The two of them were incredible together. I love that. Of course, I watch all the ones that everyone in the industry watches, White Lotus, and I also watched, The Last of Us. I love a zombie thing. So, I've watched those over the years. I don't know why. I don't watch a lot of horror, but I do like that genre. Yeah. And then I also will like plop in an episode of, Ghosts, and am happy to be with those characters for a while.
Yeah.
Depends on what you need to escape.
It depends on what I need on the day. Mm-hmm.
I love that. We've seen this, this ebb and flow over the last, I don't even know how many years, where it's all, cable that it was called, or then it was network, back to network, then it's streaming, and now, again, network series are having such a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Elsbeth is killing it. We love Kathy Bates. We love Matlock.
Yeah.
There's just, there's so many things. You mentioned Ghosts. There's really, the creative outlets are just, they're so plentiful. And there really are just fabulous things on all platforms and all places you can find.
I know. Isn't that wonderful?
It is.
Somebody said, Elsbeth is the show that we didn't even know we needed right now. And I love that. And John Tollins loves that, because I feel like we're creating something on our show that is uplifting. It's cathartic. It's creates a sense of order in a otherwise kind of chaotic world.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this character who is seeking truth and justice, and is achieving that in a way that I think is satisfying to watch. And there's not the stress of who did it, who done it, because we know at the beginning of the episode, on pretty much all of our episodes, who the killer is. So now it's just a matter of watching this brilliant woman and all of her colleagues putting it together. And we just somehow have given an answer to a question that we didn't even know people were asking.
Mm-hmm.
And the streaming and the cable shows, and all of that, they've gotten, quite dark, and we're in dark times. So sometimes people just don't want to be reminded of that, no matter how great the art form is,
Yeah.
And I feel like on our show, we're able to, because we're a 10 p.m. show, we are still able to push the envelope a little bit. And we're able to have, gay characters, LGBTQ characters. We're able to, talk about politics without talking about politics at all. And I love that. You can see it if you want. And if not, you're just watching a fun caper that has depth and is grounded.
No, it truly is. It truly is exactly that. A gift to let people escape. And yeah, and I think to your point, we're seeing that the success of your show and the silliness. I mean, like Minecraft. I mean, the billions of dollars it's doing
Right?
at the box office, and it's adults going to. But it's that we're giving. I think the entertainment industry right now is giving so many choices, and people are able, like, let's vote with our dollars, let's vote with our time on if you want to go deeper into the darkness, you're able to. But there's
Yeah.
choices out there for us who don't too. I love that.
I do too. Yeah. And I feel lucky that I'm
Yeah,
part of that wave,
that it's there.
Yeah.
Well, Carrie, thank you so much. This has flown by. It has been so nice to meet you and to learn more about the show. We're big, big fans, and we have been so excited that you were coming on. So thanks for spending some time with us today.
It was so nice to talk to you both. Thanks for the wonderful questions and for the support.
Thank you for listening to In Her Words. We hope you'll join us at womeninentertainment.com and go to our Substack for extended interviews and behind-the-scenes access.